You never thought you'd cross paths with Kim Taehyung again, let alone be forced into a marriage with him. Once he was the love of your life, your first love, your everything, until it's all crumbs. But misunderstanding, heartbreak, and harsh word had thrown you in it. Yet here you were, dressed in an expensive engagement outfit, sitting across from him in lavish dining room as your family finalized your wedding. His sharp eyes bore into your with unmistakable hatred. I don't want this marriage, he said coldly, voice devoid to any emotion. I don't want you. Your finger clenched into the feast. Breathe the table, but you maintain a composed expression. You think I do, you shot back, voice laced with the bitterness. I have no choice. His jaw tightened and his gaze darkened. Good, then let's make this clear. I may be forced into this, but I don't expect me to play the lovey husband. This is just a business deal to me. His words sharpened more than they should have, but you refused to let him see your pain. Instead, you lifted your chin. Fine by me, just stay out of my way, and I will stay out of yours. But neither of you knew the fate had other plans. The marriage was cold, lifeless. You lived in the same house but rarely spoke beyond what was necessary. Every interaction was less than unspoken resentment, and the air between you was thick with the tension. Yet crack began to form in the wall Taehyung had built around himself. One night you fell asleep on the couch after a long day, exhausted. When you woke up, you found yourself in the bed, a blanket tucked around you. Thing was nowhere to be seen. Then there was a little thing. The way he stumbled pulled you away from the covered place, ensure you were safe. Or he always had your favorite teas shocked it, despite claiming didn't care. The breaking point came on the stormy night. You were standing by the window, lost in the thought when the thunder roared, making you flinch. You hated a storm. Are you scared? His voice was soft, hesitate. You turned to find him watching you, something unbelievable in his eyes. He wouldn't hate, not anymore. No, you lie, but you tremble, hand betray you. With a sign, Tim ran a hand through his hair conflict, and before you could react, he gently pulled you into his arm. I don't hate you, he mumbled, voice thin as if admitting it pained him. I never did. Your heart pounded. Then why did you leave me? His grip on you tightened. Because I thought you betrayed me, because I was a fool. Silence strained between you before you. He whispered, I never stopped loving you for the first time since your marriage. Your walls crumble. Maybe just if this was an end of your love story. Perhaps it was the beginning of new. After that stormy night, the things between you and Tenu shifted gently, and but undeniably, he still maintained his cold extended, but there were cracks in his armor now. He no longer ignore you at the breakfast. If you sleep on the couch, you always woke up in the bed, and the way he looked at you, it wasn't filled with a resentment anymore, but just when you thought his face might lead you something more, reality hit. At the business gala, a woman approached him with a bright smile and lovingly touched him. Darling, it's been so long. He puffed. She puffed, her eyes blinking to you with clear disdain. You recognized her immediately. Min Hyjin, the woman who had always hovered around him back when you were dating, the woman who had fueled your biggest argument before your breakup. Then suddenly beside you, you expected him to ignore her, but instead he smirked. Hygiene, you look well, your stomach twist. Was this what he meant by a business deal? Acting like you didn't exist, you refused to let it slow. Marked your expression, you turned to the bartender, a whiskey. If the young lady wanted to pretend fine, you could play that game too, but you didn't notice how his gaze darkened when he saw the way your finger clenched around your glass. The tension from the gala didn't fade. Tim was colder than ever, avoiding you even more. You tried to brush it off, convincing yourself you shouldn't care, but when an old friend Susan invited you for lunch, you accept without hesitation. Laughing at one of Susan's jokes, you didn't notice the figure approaching your table until his voice cut through the air like ice. Wine. You looked up, staring. Them stood there, jaw tight, eyes unraveled. We are leaving. You scoffed. Excuse me. He ignored you, turning to Susan. I believe my wife has spent enough time with you. Susan raised an assumed brow. She can decide for herself, can't she? Them feast clean. She doesn't need to waste time on unnecessary people. Anger flared in your unnecessary. You stood glaring at him. Funny, consider you spent the entire gala entertaining hygiene. His eyes flared out. Instead of arguing, he grabbed your waist and pulled you away. What the hell is wrong with you? You snapped once you were outside. He extended sharply. I don't like seeing you with him. You froze. What? He ran the frustration hand through his hair. I don't want you with someone else. Your heart pounded. You don't get to say that. Not when you keep pushing me away. He took a step closer, his voice lower now. And if I don't want you to push away anymore, your breath hitched. This was dangerous territory, and yet you didn't move when he leaned in, his lips hovered near yours. Taehyung breathed fans against your lips, his eyes darkened with emotion. He refused the same. Your heart pounded as you stood froze, waiting, daring him to close the distance, but the last moment he pulled away, his expression conflict. This is the mistake, he muttered under his breath before turning away. You swallowed the lump in your throat, forcing yourself a laugh Petrie. Of course, that all marriage is to you, right? A mistake. He didn't respond just like that. Whatever process you thought you had made shattered into pieces again. The day following that night were worse than ever. The room was tense and it knit you over around you as if he threaded by an invisible thread. One evening, you attend another company event together, playing the perfect couple in front of the world. But when Taehyung stepped away to get a call, Hygiene approached once again and screamed on her lips. You really think he changed? She scoffed. Thing always come back to me, sweetheart. He just entertaining the little marriage because of his band. You clenched your fist, but you didn't give her the justification of her reaction. Funny, I don't see him married to you. Her stomach fatter, but before she could resort, a warm hand slid your waist. His grip was faint, possessive. Hygiene, he said coldly, I don't recall inviting you into our conversation. Hygiene, eyes flicking between you two, realization drawing. You are actually falling for her again into. Tim didn't reply, but the way his hand tightened around you, that was the answer enough. The tension between you two and Taehyung reached the boiling point of the event. You stormed into the penthouse, yanking off your heels. Your presence long ago. Why did you do that? Taehyung lost his tie, expression unbelievable. Do what? You know what? You snap, grabbing him like that, acting all trivial. You enjoy playing games. His eyes darkened. The only one playing games here is you, flirting with Seojun, pretending like this marriage means nothing. You let out a sharp laugh, pretending you were the one who said this marriage was just a deal. You were the one who he stepped closer, and you are the one who making it difficult. Your breath is difficult. Yes, his voice was low, dangerous, because despite everything, he stopped himself. You inhaled shakily, your heart racing. You still watched silence and then crash. His fist slammed against the wall beside you, his president slipping over. Forget it, he muttered before storming out, leaving you alone in the weight of the ward. Unsaid. After that night, I avoided you completely. Dinner were silent. He left early for work. He came home late. The house felt colder than ever, and for the first time you hated it. One evening, unable to take it anymore, you approached him in his office. We need to talk. He didn't look up from his paperwork. There is nothing to say. You slam your hand on his desk. You stop running away. His eyes finally met yours, but they were guided. What do you want from me, Ryan? You shuddered. I just want the truth. His lips pressed into a thin line. The truth, he let out a bitter chuckle. The truth is, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know whether to hate you. Another pause, another wall between you. You clenched your fist or what? And then looked away, and the silence hurt more than any word ever could. The silence between you and Taehyung stretched for the day heavy and untelling. Both something had changed. It was the very way he slinging when he thought you wasn't looking, the way he reached for the opportunity before pulling back, the way his gaze softened just for a second before he forced himself to turn away. One night, as you were walking past his study, you overheard him speaking on the phone. I don't know what to do anymore, he admitted quietly. I told myself I wouldn't feel anything, that I wouldn't be let her back in. But every time I see her, it's like I am losing the battle. Your heart clenched. You wasn't supposed to hear this. And yet, as you soon step away, you couldn't ignore the truth that settled deep in your chest. Kalyum was fighting something within himself, and for the first time, you wondered, did you want him to do? It was late when you find yourself in the kitchen ushering the cup of tea. You walked in a moment later, pursuing when he saw you. You expected him to leave. Instead, he signed and grabbed a glass of water, leaning against the counter for a while. Neither you spoke, but the silence wasn't tense this time. You couldn't sleep, he finally asked. You shook your head. You let out a soft chuckle through the elect humor. I haven't been able to sleep for a while. Something about his honesty made your heart clench. You hesitated, then quickly said, what happened to us? He extended, running his hand through his hair. I don't know. Another beat of silence, then softer, almost like a confusion. He murmured, but I wish things were different. And the first time you allow yourself out to go. After that night in the kitchen, things between you and Taehyung changed. The tension wasn't gone, but it was no longer sharp. It is instead of softening into the something uncertain, something fragile. You noticed the way he started waiting for you at breakfast evening. If he hadn't said much, the way he always left the study lighting on when he knew it home late, the way his finger brushed against yours just a little long when passing you something. One evening, as you were working late in the living room, you dozed off on the couch. When you woke up, a blanket was draped over you, and sitting nearby, asleep in the armchair, was him. Your heart clenched at the sight. Slowly, you stood up and approached him. His face was peaceful and sleep. Feel the unusual tension. Without thinking, you reach out, gently brushing a strand of the hair. His forehead, he straightened, his eyes bleeding open. Sleep, he murmured, stay. You breathed catch, he didn't push you away, didn't shut you out, and for the first time you let yourself believe, maybe, just maybe, you wasn't alone in this anymore. The change between you two was unstable, though no one else would notice, but you did. One afternoon it rained as expected while you were out, but the time you reached home you were drenched. Tim took the wand, looked at you and signed, you all get sick. Before you could protest, he disappeared into the bedroom and returned with a towel. You stared at him and gently dragged your hair. His touch separately careful. You don't have to do this, you surprised. He looked up. I know. You shadowed your heart pounding. Then why? He finally met your gaze. Something unbearable in his eyes. Because I don't want you to get hurt. The word hung between you heavier than this should be. And then for the first time, a long time, thing smell it was a real and you know it moment that something was shifted between you, something that neither you could deny anymore. The weight of unspoken word between you two thing was suffocating. One evening after another tease, your soft moment you finally broke. You whispered, standing in the dimly in the living room. What are you doing? He looked up, his glass of whiskey, his expression clearer. What do you mean? You let out a breath, step closer. This us, we are pretending like nothing is changing, but we both know it. His jaws clenched, his finger tightened around his glass. It's complicated. You scoff. It doesn't have to silence stress between you, thick and emotion. Finally, then you set his glass down and met your gaze. I don't know how to fix this. Then word hung in the air. I don't know how to fix this. You swallowed the lump in your heart, in your throat. Then tell me, do you even want to fix this? His finger colored into fist. His gaze conflicted. I don't know, he admitted. Voice low. I spent a long convincing myself that I'd hate you, but I didn't care. But every time I see you, every time I think about you, the someone else is driving me insane. Your breath hitched. Then why are you holding back? He instinctively running a frustrated hand through his hair. Because I don't know how to love you without hurting you. The confession hit you harder and then expected. You took a step closer. I am still here. Even after everything, doesn't that mean something? He looked at you, then really looked at you, and then for the first time his wall seems to be crumble. I am afraid, he whispered, afraid that if I had let myself love you again, I will lose you over again. Tear pricking your eyes, then don't push me away for a moment. He just stared at you. And then in the moment of weakness or maybe strength, he reached for you, his finger trembling as they brush your against your. I don't want to lose you, he admitted. Not again, he just like that. He distance between you and then began to despair. The word lingered between you, fragile yet heavy with the meeting. I don't want to lose you. For a moment you thought his was the moment he would finally stop rushing, but the quickly he had let you. He was sitting down again. Next morning you woke up to find his side of the bed empty. You wasn't surprised. What did surprise you, however, by finding out the house of staff Taehyung had left on the business trip without telling you. A dull, achy settled in your chest. Had last night mean nothing? Determined to push the thought away, you brush yourself with work. But as days passed, you remained silent, doubting, began creeping in. It wasn't until a week later that he finally done. The moment he stepped into the penthouse, you comfort him. You left without saying anything. He signed, setting his suitcase down. It was a last-minute decision. You crossed your arms, and you could even send it a text. His jaw tightened. I need a space. Why? Your chest tightened. Space for what? From me. He ran a hand through his hair, looking exhausted for a must. The word cut than you expected. I thought you trailed off voice quieter now. I thought we were finally moving forward. I don't know how to move forward. Silence stretched between you and thick was with an unspoken. Then softer this time you whispered, do you even want to? He looked at you, his gaze conflict, but instead of answering he turned away, and this time he wasn't sure if you had strength to chase. Dan couldn't sleep. He lay awake in the dim light of his bedroom, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing with everything he left unsaid. He spent years convincing himself that he was over you, that what happened between you two in the past was invariably hate the hating easier than confront the truth, but now he couldn't lie to himself anymore. The problem was never you, it was him. The way he let his pride dictate his action, he ran from his own emotion the moment you left to real. Now he was doing it again, pushing you away when all had done with the fight for him. Then let out a frustration sign rubbing his temple. He didn't want to push you away, he wanted to hold on. He wanted to tell you that he still remembered the way you used to smile and at him like he was your whole world. That every time he laughed, something inside him ached because of he missed it for so long. That idea of losing everything, losing you this time terrified him more than anything. But wanting something, knowing how to have it, two different things. His phone vibrated on the nightstand. A message. I don't know. How much longer I can do this? His throat tightened because of this. First time he realized if he didn't fight for you, he might lose you forever, and this time he wasn't sure if he could survive that. He had never been one of the grand declaration, but for you he would make an expectation. The moment he saw your message, panic settled deep in his chest. He knew he meant in this time you were slipping away. He couldn't let that happen. For the first time in a year, he changed every meeting, ignored every phone calls, and focused on the only thing that mattered is you. By the time you got home, the evening exhausted and emotionally drained, you wasn't expecting much. Maybe another cold silence, another night spent pretending you wasn't breaking, but you wasn't expecting. Walked into a room filled with a freaking candle, soft music play, background, and demon stand in the center waiting for you. Your breath hitched. What is this? Accent is softer than you had ever seen. A start you blinked, your heart pounding. Then, to your utter shock, he reached for your hand, holding them between his own. I have been a coward, he admitted in a raw voice. I know I have hurted you over and over again. I don't deserve another chance, but I won't. Your lips parted, but no words came out. I don't want to be afraid anymore. He continued his grip tight, and I don't want to keep pretending I love you more, and I never stop it. And if you let out me, I don't want to spend the rest of my life providing to you tear well in your eyes. Because the first time he wasn't hiding, he wasn't running. He has chosen you. At this time, you knew you were finally ready to choose him too. The air between you cracked with the something instant, something undeniable thing. He stood in front of you, his hand is still trembling from the weight of his confession, his eyes searching you the answer, but he didn't realize what you have already made a choice. You always had shaky breath. You stepped closer, your finger hesitantly reached of his. You don't get to run anymore, you whispered, voice thick with a smile. Not for me, his jaw clenched for a moment. You saw was ranking inside him, a fear, hope, regret, love, a collide as on the dam breaking the sweat for his hand cupping your face, his lips pressed against your in a kiss that was the raw desperate joy in making it soft, hesitate. It was everything you had held back, pouring at the single moment he kept you tight like he was terrifying you slip away. He needed to memorize every inch of you. And you let him, your finger trailing his hair, pulling him impossible closer as if you could erase all the lost time between you. Finally, you pulled apart, you forehead resting each other, his breath out of shaky. I love you, he whispered, his voice breaking. I love you so damn much, and I am sorry it took me so long to say it. Your chest, but not from pain. The first time, it was a relief. Then say it again, you mumble, your thumb tracing his cheek, and never stop. His lips curled into a breathless smile before he kissed you again. Softer this time, but a stance just full of promise. Love you, he mumbled against your lips. I love you too, I love you. And this time, there is no hesitation, no more wall, just you and them finding each other completely. Thin hand trembling against your skin, his breath uneven, he held you like he was afraid to disappear. You spent long time waiting for this moment, for him to finally stop running, and now he had weight of all this crashing down of both of you. His forehead rest against you, his finger threading your hair with a desperation you made your heart ache. I almost lost you, he whispered, his voice thick and emotion, and then the thought of that you walked away, never looked back. I don't think I could survive his words, sharp bang your chest and without I reach up curling his face, you're forcing him to look at you, then don't let me go, you breathe. Something has snapped, his lip curled into again raw and shade filled with the unspoken word, every regret of his body lapped, burning, breathe, pride and fear, it wasn't just like a It was above his arm wrapped around you tightly, his grip almost brushing like needed to convince himself was real. This wasn't just another dream wake up from you could feel rapid beat of his heart against your own entire body trembling. He poured himself on you the way he never had before. I love you, he whispered between kisses, his hand gripping your waist, holding you close. It makes up to all the times he pushed you away. I love you and don't care how long it takes. I will spend the rest of my life providing you a tear escape. Your eyes and pull back enough to meet his gaze, your finger tracing the contour of his face. Memorize every inch of him you already are. You whispered, your voice cracking. You just have to promise one thing. His soft and his thumb brushing against your cheek and nodding anything. Don't run, you plead, no matter what happens, no matter how hard things get, just stay. He accents shaky, tighten around your, stealing the promise I will stay. He vowed, his voice full of confidence.